Yeah, thank you very much for your attendance and interest in our annual report. I'll provide a brief presentation that summarizes the annual report for you. It is something that we do have hard copies available, and of course will be available on our website. The annual report is a celebration of the accomplishment of our board and the decisions and direction that made and the accomplishments that were done in order to realize its strategic priorities, as well as make sure that we are a capable organization of meeting regulatory requirements and the needs of our citizens. One of the things about a regional district is it's a very unique form of government. They were established in the province of BC in the 1960s in order to do three things: provide services to our rural areas that were not incorporated, share services amongst our members, so we provide services to our municipalities and our rural areas where it doesn't make sense for those to do them as individuals. We can be a little bit more efficient at providing services that are shared. And it also enables us to share services with other regional districts. This regional district is a leader in that regard, in that we administer the North Island 911 Corporation. We also participate in services such as our Comox-Strathcona Waste Management, where we're administering and managing services for 2 regional districts. This regional district in 2017 operated 100 services. And those most significant were our water distribution and treatment, sewer, solid waste, and parks and recreation. Something very unique about regional districts is the way that we operate those services. Each and every one is a separate and distinct service. That means that our services are funded individually. A separate budget is made up for each one of the services. We have to manage all revenues and expenditures independently. We cannot raise revenues from street lighting and spend that on fire services. We cannot take monies intended for services on Hornby Island and spend them in Black Creek. But we can bring those bodies together to share services. And our chart, as provided in the annual report, illustrates just which of our partners, which includes the municipalities of Cumberland, Comox, and Courtenay, and our electoral areas, A, B, and C, share in the services that we offer. There were many strategic priorities of the board that were advanced in 2017, and I would just like to hit on 2 examples that are illustrated in your annual report. The first is the Regional Office Building Project, and that will come to a head tonight when the board considers in its regular meeting whether to advance that project to tender. But what happened in 2017 is a great deal of the background work, the design and details to come up with a tangible project. We went to the alternative approval process to enable our electors to say whether they wish this project to advance without referendum or not. And we received 828 eligible forms of those that were concerned about the project. That was not enough to require us to go to referendum. That enables the board now to borrow up to $8.2 million for this project. The Comox Valley Water Treatment Project is another example of a major strategic priority of the board. We saw the implementation of UV protection in order to minimize the boil water advisories that we will experience in the coming future. We have a strategy in place to advance the water treatment project, which includes a very rigorous advancement of the project through the funding alternatives that have recently been announced by the federal and provincial government, and the establishment of the priorities and details that will service the 45,000 customers that benefit from our water. This project should see its fruition or completion by the year 2021. There are many different programs that we provide throughout the regional district when you offer 100 services. So I'd like to just illustrate 4 of those and the advancements that we made. This sample of 4 show the diversity of our services. They all demonstrate how we work with the people of our communities to serve, as illustrated in the annual report. The first is the approved revisions to the Kensington Union Bay Properties Development. The Master Development Agreement was amended as agreed upon by the developer and the board. As well, Kensington provided a cash donation of $250,000 towards the homelessness support services as part of that negotiated community amenity contribution. That money is now available for those improvements in our community. On Hornby Island, the Mount Jeffrey Nature Park and Crownland Trails Management Plan is an illustration of how we work with volunteers and communities throughout our region. Together with staff, they developed the plan, consulting with all stakeholders in their engagement to provide a means for us to manage the park throughout the future, managing the environmental stewardship opportunities, illustrating the regional district's commitment to success in working with Finally, another illustration is our fire services, which we're busy, the focus of which was the establishment of the Merville Fire Service, providing fire service to Mount Washington, and also completing the new fire building for the community of Hornby Island. Our Comox Strathcona Waste Management Service, again, is a service that we provide throughout the Strathcona Regional District as well as Comox. That means we are providing the solid waste and recycling services to remote communities, including Zavalis, the 4 major Gulf Islands, communities such as Campbell River, as the Comox Valley. In 2017, we experienced major improvements to the service. We are now advancing the new cell. We now have leachate collection and treatment on the facility to ensure that all water that touches our garbage or our cell at that facility is treated properly and placed back into the environment. The board also directed that we review the potential of waste to energy. A report was submitted. A lot of good work was done by our committee that was appointed by the Solid Waste Management Board, and the results of that have come forward and been endorsed by the board. The board will continue to evaluate those alternatives, looking at things that are being established in other communities across Canada to see whether they might apply in our circumstance in the future. Finally, I just wish to acknowledge that all of these decisions and policy and the direction couldn't happen without our board of directors. These are your 10 members. They represent the communities that we have within our Comox Valley as well as the 3 electoral areas. Ultimately, it is the board that is here to serve the residents and property owners of the Comox Valley. The board sets the course to provide cost-effective, sustainable services, and the annual report illustrates the progress this organization has accomplished to this end in 2017.
Thank you, Russell. Are there any questions of Russell on the annual report?